Hello everyone, it's Krexa Prime here, and welcome to another Q&A video. Kryson, the one and only, asks, how old is Krexa as of the story? Right now, Krexa is 18,000 years old. He's older because he is a Toa, and Toa do tend to be older. I believe Toa Likan is somewhere in the 20,000s, if I'm not mistaken. I think it says that in Makuda's Guide to the Universe. So right now, Krexa is about 18,000 years old. The next question is from the Overseer, and he says, Krexa, my good sir, what do you think of the BioTube community after G2 ended? I got into the BioTube community around April 2016. I had a smaller video in September 2015, but before that I hadn't really had much experience with it. I was more interested in Bionicle from like 2007 to 2010. I didn't really check out stuff on YouTube because when I was like 7 through 10, which would be the age I started getting into Bionicle, my parents did want me going on YouTube because there was a lot more, I don't know, bad content you might see or whatever. So I didn't have much experience like seeing what was going on in the BioTube community then. But then with G2 and me getting into my video stuff in 2016, there's definitely a couple of BioTubers that stood out to me. Callan LOF, he's a good inspiration. A lot of his videos, I think I started out watching a lot of his Mata videos from his Mata series. They were really funny. I liked how he explored different aspects of the original Toa characters in a fun little series like that. Another BioTuber that has been an inspiration to me would be Larny Works with his Gakko and Rio series. Very fun, you should check it out. But what do I think of the BioTube community after G2 ended? Well, I think some people were, obviously very disappointed. I can't remember any off the top of my head, but there were a couple BioTubers who mainly did like retelling the G2 story in stop motion form and stuff, so I imagine that would be kind of devastating for them. I do think that the BioTube community, ever since G2 ended though, it has had a stronger presence now, and there's been a lot of new content, maybe even more new content than we've seen in a while. I don't know if more new content than we've ever seen before, but there's definitely a lot of interest in that area, and I guess the main individuals who come to mind who have helped out with keeping the BioTube stuff fresh and alive would definitely be Thatch Mac, especially with his series Fables of the Multiverse. Members of the BCC, I know they make a lot of content, and it's not a lot of stop motion and animation, that sort of thing, but it is Bionicle content, so they're going strong, and I do enjoy watching a lot of it. People like my friend Lena Valtapaz, she makes a lot of Bionicle content. A lot of it is very short and silly, but she posts stuff on pretty much a weekly basis. So she has her viewers and people who come back, and she delivers every week. So I don't know, I think that's pretty cool. I'm sure there's a bunch more that I'm missing. Obviously, Callan LF, he started making a lot more stuff, and that's pretty popular too. So there are definitely people who are keeping this community, the BioTube community, alive. And a lot of it is different and kind of not stuff we've been used to seeing before, like Fables of the Multiverse. It has a lot of new characters and lore and stuff. And personally for me, if you're doing a series, I'd rather have it adhere to stuff in the already established Matoran universe of Bionicle, but it is cool to see such original concepts and characters in an original series like Thatch Mac is doing. So overall, I'd say that while G2 ending was a devastating loss for much of the BioTube community, it has continued to stay strong. Really strong, in fact, and I'm excited for what's to come in the near future. Next question is from Xanton. He says, Hi Xanton, here are my questions. Do you think we need more orange, purple, and teal/turquoise pieces? I think we do. With G2, starting out there were a lot of different trans-colored pieces, and that was very exciting. But over time, I feel like LEGO went a little overkill with that, and mainly the sets had mainly those parts and silver, goldish, metallic pieces. And then when that ended, obviously Star Wars Construction mostly had boring colors like black and metal colors. So I do think we need a lot more colorful CCBS shells and pieces. I would definitely like that, and those would be great pieces for MOCs and stuff. Do you like Transformers? If so, which is your favorite character? Yeah, I don't have much experience with Transformers, as I've said. I do like Optimus Prime a lot, and also Hot Rod. I think he was very cool in Transformers 5, although I didn't like his French accent. Like, why? That was just kind of weird for some reason. And lastly, what are your thoughts on the Pacific Rim franchise? I've only seen the first Pacific Rim movie. It was a very fun film. I actually got kind of bored with it about halfway through, but it really picked up with the action kind of towards the end and stuff. So it was an enjoyable movie. Kind of different, but I liked a lot of the concepts. Giant robots fighting monsters and fighting each other is always very cool. I do feel like Fear Factory Invasion from Below was heavily inspired by that, so LEGO really did something with that there. I haven't seen the second one though. It looks very cool, and I think it's out now, so I should watch it. But yeah, I think it's a cool franchise. I do think it is a little overhyped. Like, the story is, obviously it has a story, but the story isn't really anything all that special. But I do think it is a cool series. Toa Titan asks, Krexa, my question is, what is the story about Alterations Episode 1? Like, if you have an introduction to the story, or is it based on the Matoran universe, or is it your own fanfiction? I'm really interested. Well, as you guys know, when Krexa was introduced last year, he was on Earth. So, obviously, now that Alterations Episode 2 is released, I can tell you about some of his backstory stuff which you saw. So he originally started out as a Matoran in Metru Nui, and eventually, with what happened with the catastrophe event that transformed him into a Toa, like you saw in Alterations Episode 2, he was transported to Earth. So he's been on Earth for a while, been interacting with the other Bionicle characters on Earth in the house, and he's been selling masks and kind of doing whatever. And then in A Walk Outside with Krexa from April, it's after the events of the Christmas special, and after he'd been all sad and melodramatic and all that, he's going around giving you guys a tour of the neighborhood. And then Anguiru comes in, and she's been sent by Rariki to find Krexa, and he finally told her it was okay to do it. And so she comes down from Korerawa, and she finds Krexa, and then teleports him into outer space, and then he goes through a portal. I think I'm calling it, some type of portal, and then he gets transported to Korerawa. And what's exciting for me about this series is I've been able to connect things from the Matoran universe with stuff in everyday life, like my boring everyday life here on Earth, with Krexa here too, and then also having him be a part of this new world, Korerawa, and any other new worlds that I make that may show up in other episodes too. So it's just been a journey of connecting it all together, and I'm really excited where it's going. Arc9652 Productions says, hey there dude, here are my questions. 1. Who's your favorite Bionicle character? Overall, favorite Bionicle character would probably have to be Kabaka. 2. What was your reaction to G2's ending? Well, I remember the day that it ended. Sometime at the end of July, I can't remember the exact date right now. But the day before LEGO announced that, we're ending this, I had just watched the episodes from Journey to One Season 2, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. I really enjoyed them, but with that ending, I was like, what are you guys doing? We still have the the third year with 2017 and Makuta and the Shadow Realm and all that, right? We're getting a Makuta set, and then the next day they're like, oh, sorry, you know, we're canceling Bionicle G2, and I was like, come on. And I had pretty much finished buying like all of the sets and stuff, but still, it was like, man, I don't know. I wasn't like super sad about it. I was more frustrated and like, seriously, like, obviously Lego can do what they want, but it's like, what's going to replace this? You know, nothing's really going to replace this now unless they come up with another original construction IP, and it's going to be a lot different from Bionicle. But ever since then, my interest in Lego has just like gone down a lot. There are still themes I like Lego Star Wars and Ninjago and other themes like that, but not nearly as much as Bionicle. So it was very disappointing for me. Not like a major issue, but just kind of agitating, I guess. Firelord asks, what is the tallest MOC you ever built? I do have one MOC that I haven't shown yet, but this MOC is like probably this tall, I'd say. I don't know. Yeah, that's probably my tallest one. Cody Mox asks, do the colors for your self MOC mean anything? Yes, they actually do. So that is a great question. Crexa's colors are actually related to his elemental power. So the purple color actually has a significance. And you guys will learn more about that as there are more videos talking about Crexa's backstory, more about him, his powers, his abilities, and all that stuff. But they definitely do have a meaning. I don't want to say exactly what yet, but that is a great question. Yeah. Mr. Lego Lover 55 asks, how did you get the name Crexa? Well, if you remember back in February 2014, there was a Lego Star Wars stop motion that I was making, and I needed a name for a bounty hunter that was going on a heist with Cad Bane to some Republic base somewhere. And I was like, what should I name this guy? So I actually named him Crixa. And then when I was rebranding my YouTube channel in April 2017, I'm like, okay, I have a self-mock. Now what should I name him? I was like, well, maybe I should just name him Crexa. It's a little different than Crixa, which I thought was a cool name. So yeah, that's actually how I got the name for Crexa. Not too exciting, but hey, that's how I got it. The R-Master Null asks, is your new series that recently began canon to the Haporiverse, and is anything you have done previously canon? My new series, Alterations right now, isn't canon to the Haporiverse. It's kind of my own thing, actually, where I'm trying to connect it to the Matoran universe and my other series and stuff, so it all makes sense. And it can fit in with the Matoran universe because I feel that is the most important, most meaningful aspect of Bionicle to me, and connecting it together so that it will make logical sense will just be really good for my series, and that's kind of the way I want to go with it. So it's not canon to the Haporiverse right now, although you may see different collaborations and team-ups with different members of the Hapori, possibly in the future. I can't say for sure. Is anything you have done previously canon? There is the Rangus birthday video from 2017. I think that was canon at one point. I'm not sure if it's canon now. You guys can ask Thatch about that. Meep Just Meep 199 asks, what do you think of Valve's games? Which is your favorite? Half-Life, Team Fortress 2, Portal, etc. I definitely have to say the Half-Life games are my favorites. I've only played the ones in the Half-Life 2 series, haven't finished any of the original Half-Life games from the late 90s, but definitely very cool with the narrative, the gameplay, the music, the story, everything. It's been a very immersive, actually pretty realistic, I guess, visceral experience playing those games, but I really like the world and the environment and the characters and everything. So I guess those would definitely have to be my favorites out of Valve's games. I haven't really played Team Fortress 2 yet. I think I do have it in my Steam account. I haven't played Portal 2. I've only played Portal 1, some of it, but it's been very fun so far. But definitely Half-Life is my favorite out of any of the Valve games that I played. Ice Cold Productions, LEGO Creations, and more asks, what was your first experience with Bionicle? I think I kind of answered this in my other Q&A video, but my first experience with Bionicle was when I got a box of Legos at a garage sale, I think when I was like 5, and there were some Bionicle parts in there, and so I just started making MOCs with those. Question 2, how's your day going? It's going pretty well. Been fairly productive. Ate breakfast. It's quiet around here, so it's a good day so far. Thank you for asking. Question 3, are you ever going to make some merch? Because I would buy a Crexa plushie or t-shirt. Well, I thought of making t-shirts. That would be really cool and probably easier to do than a plushie, but that would actually be kind of cool too. Crexa Prime, Crexa Productions t-shirts. I will think more about that because that definitely does sound very cool. I want to do that. And if I do go to Brick Fair, Virginia next year, I might want to bring some merch, like some t-shirts. If I did, would you guys be interested in maybe buying some of those if I did bring some with? Let me know in the comments or whatever. But yeah, I'll definitely think more about that because I think those would be very cool to make, and maybe you guys think those would be kind of cool t-shirts to have. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all your questions and input and everything. Yeah, I don't really know what the next video is going to be after this, like the next one. But I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Crexa Prime out.